Imagine waking up, not to sunlight, but to a screen. A quick scroll. Notifications flashing like digital alarm bells. Before you even drink water, your brain is already processing texts, emails, trending videos, and a dozen dopamine-laced updates. We don't even call it going online anymore. We're just always on. But what's the cost of this hyper-connected lifestyle? Not in bandwidth or battery life, but in attention, identity, memory, and your very sense of self. This is not just about screen time, it's about soul time, and how much of it we're quietly trading away. In ancient philosophy, the self was seen as something to be cultivated, like a garden. Aristotle called it eudaimonia, flourishing. It required reflection, intentional living, deep thought. But the internet wasn't built for reflection. It was built for reaction. Every ping, buzz, and swipe is engineered to hijack the brain's reward system. Dopamine spikes, micro-validation. A scroll becomes a compulsion. And before you know it, hours dissolve into pixels and noise. Neuroscience confirms what many of us already feel deep down. The brain on the internet is a distracted brain. Attention, the very currency of thought, is fragmented into 1,000 tabs, apps, and alerts. You're not just multitasking, you're multi-drifting from one thing to the next without depth or continuity. We've mistaken constant connection for consciousness. But the truth is, the more we are plugged in, the more we risk becoming unconscious in our daily lives. Consider this. The average adult touches their phone over 2,600 times a day. That's not usage. That's ritual, a form of digital worship. But every touch carries a subtle message. Something out there is more urgent than what's in here, more important than your thoughts, your body, your presence. Over time, this rewires how the brain prioritizes experience. The default mode network, associated with introspection and self-awareness, gets weakened. Meanwhile, the salience network, linked to novelty and external stimuli, gets hyperactivated. In plain terms, you lose your ability to sit with yourself, to think slowly, to be still. Silence starts to feel like emptiness. Boredom becomes unbearable. And solitude turns into something we flee from, rather than something we grow within. Philosophers like Heidegger warned about technology long before the internet. He feared that modern tools would turn us into what he called standing reserve, resources to be used, optimized, and consumed, rather than beings with depth. Today, we optimize ourselves constantly, tracking steps, monitoring sleep, curating feeds, performing existence for an invisible audience. Even our memories are outsourced. Birthdays remembered by algorithms, photos stored in clouds, conversations replaced by comment sections. And yet, with all this data, we are more lost than ever. Because information is not the same as wisdom, access is not the same as understanding, and being connected is not the same as being whole. So what happens to a mind that never unplugs? It becomes reactive, anxious, always anticipating the next ding, the next dopamine drip. Studies link excessive online activity to reduced gray matter in areas responsible for decision-making and impulse control. Your brain, quite literally, reshapes itself to match the chaos of the feed. Even sleep is disrupted. The blue light confuses your circadian rhythm. Your brain thinks it's daytime at midnight. Dreams fade. Fatigue deepens. And still, you scroll. Why? Because you've been trained to associate boredom with failure. Because the internet doesn't just steal your time, it colonizes your mindset. But here's the thing. You are not your notifications. You are not your timeline. You are not a content machine built to scroll, react, and perform on command. You are not the sum of your likes, nor the echo of someone else's algorithm. You are something older, something deeper, a consciousness, fluid, vast, mysterious, a soul that needs friction to grow, a silence to hear itself, a struggle to evolve. The very things the online world is designed to erase. In the name of convenience, we're losing our complexity. In the pursuit of connection, we forget how to be alone and whole within it. Real thought doesn't come in bite-sized videos or endless threads. It takes space, slowness, a sacred kind of boredom. Real identity cannot be streamed. It must be lived, shaped in the quiet moments where nothing is shared and no one is watching. Real presence, the kind that anchors you in the now, can't be downloaded. You can't swipe your way into meaning. You have to descend into it. The Stoics knew this. They practiced voluntary discomfort, stillness, fasting, cold, not as punishment, but as a reminder that their minds belong to them, not to the crowd or the day's distractions. What if logging off wasn't a luxury, but a form of resistance? Not an escape, but a return, a reclaiming of depth in an age obsessed with speed. Not a rejection of technology, but a reordering of the hierarchy, where your soul comes first and the screen serves you. Because the true cost of always being online isn't just screen fatigue or distraction. It's the erosion of something sacred. That quiet inner world where your thoughts take root, where you remember who you are when no one else is looking. To protect that space is not just wise, it's revolutionary. Because in a world addicted to noise, the most radical act is stillness. In a world screaming for your attention, the bravest move is to log out and look in.
If this made you pause, if you're drawn to deeper truths and quiet strength, then you're in the right place. Like, subscribe, and keep exploring with us. See you in the next one.